fourth-generation Chevrolet Corvette, known to enthusiasts simply as the C4, has long existed in a peculiar space within the world of classic sports cars. It is a machine that once defined American performance in the 1980s, yet somehow spent decades in the shadows, underappreciated and undervalued. But as time moves on, and as collectors begin to rediscover what these cars truly represented, the C4 is finally getting the recognition it deserves. I have said this before, but it's worth repeating. The C4 Corvette remains the single best deal among 1980s and 1990s V8-powered sports cars on the planet. When you consider the technology, performance, styling, and sheer driving experience you get for the money, it becomes difficult to think of another car that delivers quite as much. When the C4 made its debut in 1984, it wasn't just a mild evolution of the Corvette lineage. It was a complete reinvention. Chevrolet didn't merely revise the old C3 platform. They threw it out and started from scratch. The result was a car that was decades ahead of its predecessor in both engineering and performance. Everything from the frame to the suspension to the aerodynamic bodywork was new. For the first time in the Corvette's history, the engineers had approached the car like a true world-class sports car rather than just a powerful American GT. The aluminum suspension components, composite transverse leaf springs, digital dashboard, and unibody-style chassis were not gimmicks. They were signs of a brand stepping confidently into the modern performance era. To understand why the C4 matters so much, you have to imagine the sports car landscape of the early 1980s. Ferrari's 308 was a beautiful but expensive toy with modest power. Porsche's 911 was quick and agile but costly to maintain. The Japanese were beginning to show promise with cars like the Toyota Supra and Mazda RX-7. But their offerings couldn't match the raw torque of an American V8. Then came the C4, a car that could compete with Europe's finest at a fraction of the price. It could corner at over 1.0 G on the skid pad, accelerate from 0 to 60 in 6 seconds, and push beyond 150 miles per hour, numbers that were, at the time, reserved for high-end exotics. The pick of the day in question is one of these machines, a 1986 Chevrolet Corvette offered through a dealer in Canton, Ohio. On paper, it may look like a typical mid-80s sports car, but dig deeper and you'll find something special. A near-time capsule example showing only 13,000 miles since new. Finished in the classic bright red that defined an entire era of American performance, this Corvette embodies everything that made the C4 such a standout when it was introduced. Interestingly, while the C4 was admired by driving enthusiasts, it was also highly coveted by a different crowd, car thieves. In the early years of production, the Corvette was one of the most stolen cars in America. Its sleek design and performance reputation made it irresistible, and reports indicated that as many as 7% of the first and second-year C4s were stolen. The problem was so widespread that Chevrolet had to act quickly, introducing the Vehicle Anti-Theft System, VATS, as standard equipment beginning with the 1986 model year. The new system embedded a tiny resistor pellet into the ignition key that communicated with the car's computer. If the resistance value didn't match, the car simply wouldn't start. It was an early form of electronic security and a sign that the C4 wasn't just fast, it was technologically sophisticated. For 1986, Chevrolet also made several important improvements to the Corvette's design and performance. The car shed some weight compared to the early 84 and 85 models and gained a slight bump in horsepower, now delivering a healthy 240 from its tuned port-injected 5.7-liter V8. In an era when emissions regulations had strangled many performance cars, this was a serious figure. The combination of lightweight construction, torque-rich power, and near-perfect weight balance meant the 86 Corvette could hold its own against much more expensive competitors. With its 0 to 60 miles per hour sprint of 6 seconds and top speed of around 150 miles per hour, it was every bit a legitimate sports car. But the numbers only tell part of the story. What really sets the C4 apart is how it feels. Driving one is an immersive experience that blends analog muscle with futuristic flair. The long, low hood stretches out in front of you like a fighter jet's nose cone, and when you glance down, you see that iconic digital dashboard, a fluorescent symphony of numbers and bar graphs straight out of an arcade game. For many, that dash defines the C4 era, a mixture of optimism, technology, and 1980s excess all packed into one glowing panel. And yet, it works. The information is clear, the layout futuristic, and the experience unforgettable. This particular example, the 1986 bright red coupe from Canton, looks like it rolled straight out of a showroom display. Its paint appears flawless, gleaming under the lights without any of the dulling or fading that often afflicts older Corvettes. The original fiberglass body panels are smooth and straight, with crisp panel gaps and the kind of depth in the paint that only comes from careful preservation. It's not just clean, it's a car that exudes pride of ownership. And that's because this is a one-family-owned vehicle, cherished from day one and treated less like transportation and more like an heirloom. Open the door and the story continues inside. The red leather interior is a vibrant time machine to 1986, when bold colors and digital displays represented the height of automotive cool. The seats show virtually no wear, their leather still supple and supportive. The matching red carpets, dash, and door panels are immaculate, looking almost untouched. The seller calls it a museum-quality example, and from the provided photographs, that seems entirely accurate. It's rare to see a C4 this clean, let alone one that retains its original documents. Window sticker, build sheet, showroom brochure, glovebox manuals, dealer postcard, and even the original dealer keychain. It's a complete package that tells the full story of how this Corvette left the factory and how carefully it has been preserved ever since. I've driven many C4 Corvettes over the years, and each time I'm reminded of their unique character. They ride firmly, a byproduct of their high-performance suspension, but there's a directness and precision that few American cars of that era could match. The steering is sharp, the chassis communicates every imperfection in the road, and the car feels light on its feet. It's a sports car that rewards smooth inputs and measured aggression. The seats, while firm, are incredibly comfortable on long drives, hugging you just enough without becoming fatiguing. It's easy to forget that this was a production car built nearly 40 years ago. It still feels tight, composed, and ready for action. Pop the hood, and you're greeted by one of the most visually striking engine bays ever put in a production car. The C4's clamshell hood doesn't just tilt up. It opens forward, revealing the entire front suspension, engine, and inner structure in one sweeping motion. It's as if the car is showing off its mechanical heart, proudly displaying its engineering rather than hiding it away. The 5.7-liter V8 beneath that hood is clean, with factory-correct parts and detailing that suggests careful maintenance and attention to originality. Few cars look as cool with the hood open as the C4 Corvette. One of the most remarkable aspects of this particular car is just how complete it remains. Every piece of documentation, every small accessory that came with the car when it was new, is still there. That kind of preservation tells you everything about its life. This wasn't a Corvette that bounced between owners or suffered from neglect. It was loved, maintained, and cherished. And when you see how well it's held up, it's no exaggeration to call it a time capsule. The C4 Corvette may not yet have reached the collectability status of earlier Stingrays or later C5Z06S, but that's precisely what makes it so appealing right now. Prices remain surprisingly low, especially considering the performance and historical importance of the car. This 1986 example, with just 13,000 miles and near-perfect preservation, is being offered at $17,995, a figure that barely buys a used compact SUV these days. Yet what you get is a piece of American performance history, a car that defined a decade, and one that still turns heads wherever it goes. For anyone who loves driving, the C4 offers something special. It represents the moment when Chevrolet's engineers finally stepped up to the challenge of building a true world-class sports car. Not just a fast American car, but one that could dance with Porsches and Ferraris on equal footing. It's a car that feels alive at the wheel, eager to stretch its legs, its crossfire-injected heartbeat pulsing with every prod of the throttle. The 1986 model year was also an important milestone for another reason. It marked the return of the Corvette convertible after an absence of more than a decade. Though our featured example is a coupe, the return of the drop-top signaled Chevrolet's renewed confidence in the brand. The C4's chassis was strong enough to handle the structural demands of an open-top design, something that hadn't been possible since 1975. That same confidence is evident in every part of the C4's design. It's a car built with pride, precision, and a forward-looking spirit that still feels refreshing today. There are few pleasures in life as pure as the simple act of driving. Not commuting, not sitting in traffic, but driving. The kind of driving that frees the mind, sharpens the senses, and reminds you why people fall in love with cars in the first place. The weekend drive is sacred for enthusiasts. A ritual that calls for open roads, sweeping corners, the scent of warm oil, and a machine built with the driver in mind. The right car for this experience doesn't need to be outrageously fast or overloaded with technology. It needs to speak to you through the steering, to feel alive beneath your fingertips, and to carry the right balance of style, performance, and character. For anyone who understands that connection between car and driver, this 1980 Porsche 911 SC offers that perfect formula, an elemental, analog driving experience wrapped in timeless design and German precision. At first glance, the 1980 Porsche 911 SC seems to whisper rather than shout. Yet beneath its modest proportions lies one of the most influential sports cars of all time. Porsche's engineers had long mastered the art of refinement through evolution rather than revolution, and by the dawn of the 1980s, the 911 had matured into something remarkable. The SC designation, short for Super Carrera, marked an era when Porsche struck the ideal balance between raw power and real-world usability. It was a car that blended race-bred engineering with everyday reliability, something few sports cars could claim at the time. The result was a driving experience that could make a Monday commute thrilling and turn a Sunday morning backroad run into something transcendent. This particular 1989 11 SC stands out immediately with its bright red exterior, a color that seems to pulse with energy even when the car is parked. Porsche's design language of the era was one of purposeful minimalism. The body's flowing lines, gently swollen fenders, and the signature teardrop silhouette were not just aesthetic choices but aerodynamic necessities refined over decades of motorsport experience. Walk around this car and the attention to detail becomes evident. The paint gleams like liquid fire, perfectly complementing the car's sculpted profile. Down the flanks, an iconic Porsche racing stripe stretches along the side, adding just the right touch of sporting intent without feeling overdone. It's a visual reminder of Porsche's racing heritage, an echo of the 911's roots on the track, where countless victories have cemented its reputation as one of the most successful sports cars in history. As your eyes move lower, you notice the set of black Fuchs wheels, arguably the most recognizable alloy wheels ever made. Their design, equal parts elegant and purposeful, is the finishing touch to the 911's classic stance. The wheels sit perfectly within the arches, giving the car a poised, athletic posture that suggests motion even at rest. The bumpers, mirrors, and trim pieces are all original, preserved in exceptional condition. There's something inherently satisfying about seeing a vintage Porsche that has aged gracefully, without the scars of time or careless ownership. Every component on this car appears intact and correct, a testament to careful stewardship and a life likely spent in the hands of someone who truly appreciated what this machine represents. Step inside, and the 911 SC's cabin greets you with an atmosphere that's both intimate and inviting. The black leather interior is a perfect counterpoint to the fiery exterior, cocooning the driver in a space that feels purposeful yet elegant. Porsche interiors from this era were famously functional. Every dial, switch, and lever placed exactly where it needed to be, no more and no less. Yet, this particular car offers a touch of bespoke craftsmanship. The current owner reports that the interior has been professionally redone, featuring a stylish quilted pattern that enhances the sense of quality while maintaining authenticity. The seats hug you in just the right way, supportive enough for spirited driving but supple enough for longer journeys. The Porsche crest embossed into the headrests feels like a quiet nod to the marque's proud heritage. Everything about the cabin exudes precision. The 5 circular gauges dominate the dashboard, the tachometer taking center stage as if reminding you that this car was built for people who care about revs more than radio stations. The steering wheel feels just right in the hands, thin-rimmed, communicative, and devoid of unnecessary buttons. Beneath your feet, color-matched Porsche carpets echo the red exterior, creating a cohesive aesthetic that ties the entire experience together. The smell of aged leather mixed with the faint aroma of oil and fuel is intoxicating. A sensory reminder that this is a living, breathing machine. Unlike modern cars that isolate you from the act of driving, the 911 SC invites you in, demanding your attention and rewarding your focus. Of course, the real magic happens when you move to the back of the car and lift that iconic rear deck lid. There, nestled behind the rear axle, sits a 2,993 cubic centimeters flat-six engine, air-cooled, naturally aspirated, and utterly charismatic. In the world of performance cars, engines are often judged by their power figures, but the Porsche flat-six is about so much more than numbers. It's about the way it delivers its power, the sound it makes as it climbs through the rev range, and the way it transforms from a subdued purr to a mechanical howl as the throttle opens wide. This engine doesn't just propel the car forward, it defines its character. It's a heartbeat, a living part of the 911's soul. The current owner reports a host of aesthetic and mechanical upgrades to the engine bay, and it shows. The valve covers have been powder-coated to perfection, hoses and gaskets replaced, and new wiring and vacuum lines installed to ensure reliability and performance. The engine assembly itself has been replaced, a sign of careful investment rather than neglect. Many classic 911s suffer from deferred maintenance over the years, but not this one. The engine compartment gleams with pride, each component either restored or renewed to meet factory standards. Some parts have even been sandblasted for a cleaner, more polished finish, giving the entire engine bay a show-quality presentation that's rare to find. This is a car built to be driven, not just displayed. Paired to that magnificent flat-six is a manual transmission, because of course it is. A Porsche of this vintage deserves nothing less than a proper stick shift, the kind that connects driver and machine in the most mechanical, intimate way possible. The gearbox, reported to have been overhauled recently, operates with the precision and mechanical honesty that defines the best 911s. The clutch engages with a firm yet forgiving bite, and the shift pattern rewards those who approach it with rhythm and respect. The feel of slotting that lever into gear, the mechanical click as it engages, is an experience that no paddle shift system can replicate. The connection between right hand and right foot becomes a dance, a symphony of timing, balance, and feedback that defines what driving pleasure truly means. Fire up the flat-six, and the car comes alive with that unmistakable Porsche soundtrack. The engine doesn't roar. It sings, its note building with every increment of throttle. The distinctive whir of the cooling fan mixes with the raspy exhaust tone to create a soundscape that stirs the soul. Blip the throttle, and the response is immediate, crisp, and eager. It's a reminder that engines used to be mechanical instruments, tuned by feel rather than software. Out on the open road, the 911 SC reveals why it's regarded as one of the purest expressions of the sports car formula. The steering is unassisted but alive, transmitting every texture of the tarmac directly to your fingertips. The rear engine layout gives the car a unique balance, one that requires respect, yet rewards skill with sublime handling. Push it into a corner, feel the weight settle over the rear tires, and the car rotates with a precision that feels almost telepathic. This is driving in its most authentic form. It's hard to overstate how cohesive the 911 SC feels as a complete package. Every part of the car, engine, chassis, steering, brakes, works in perfect harmony. You can sense the engineering purity that Porsche became famous for. There are no gimmicks, no distractions. Just you, the car, and the road ahead. The SC's 180 horsepower output might seem modest by modern standards, but in a car that weighs under 2,700 pounds, it's more than enough. The way it delivers its performance, smooth, linear, and full of character, makes every drive a joy. It's a car that doesn't need to be driven fast to feel rewarding. Even at moderate speeds, the sensations it provides, the weight transfer, the steering feedback, the sound, make every journey memorable. There's also something special about the way this particular car has been cared for. The level of detail and attention invested by its owner is evident everywhere you look. From the freshly reupholstered interior to the meticulous work done in the engine bay, this 911 SC has clearly been treated as more than just a vehicle. It's been cherished as a piece of Porsche history. The fact that it remains so original, retaining its factory trim, wheels, and even color-matched carpets, only adds to its authenticity. Cars like this don't just represent value, they represent legacy. Out on a quiet stretch of road, you begin to understand why the 911 has such a cult following. Every input feels direct, every response immediate. The chassis communicates with you constantly, the flat six singing behind you like an old friend. There's a balance between predictability and challenge that keeps you engaged without ever feeling intimidated. Modern sports cars may be faster, but few can replicate this level of connection. The 911 SC makes every drive feel like a special occasion. It doesn't isolate you, it involves you. When the weekend arrives and the sun begins to rise, this is the car you'll want to take out for a drive through winding back roads. The way the light reflects off the red paint, the way the engine hums as it warms, the way the steering waits up through the corners. All of it adds up to a kind of motoring therapy that modern cars often forget. The 1980 Porsche 911 SC is not just a car for enthusiasts. It's a car that defines enthusiasm itself. It's proof that driving pleasure isn't about horsepower figures or lap times. It's about the bond between driver and machine. And when you park it at the end of the day, step out and look back over your shoulder, you realize that this car isn't just beautiful, it's alive. Its curves catch the light just right. Its stance exudes confidence. And that small Porsche badge glinting on the hood feels like a seal of integrity. It's no wonder that decades after its debut, the 911 SC remains one of the most beloved variants of the classic 911 lineage. Captures everything that makes Porsche, well, Porsche. This 1980 example is more than just a survivor. It's a driver's car in every sense of the term. With its tasteful updates, freshly renewed mechanics, and preserved originality, it stands ready to deliver the kind of driving experience that enthusiasts dream about. It's the kind of car that reminds you that performance isn't just about numbers. It's about feel, sound, and spirit. Every rev, every shift, every corner becomes part of a dialogue between man and machine, one that never grows old. For those seeking the ultimate weekend companion, a car that can turn even the most ordinary road into an unforgettable journey, this red 1980 Porsche 911 SC answers the call perfectly. It's not overpowering, not intimidating, but just right in every way that matters. It's a machine built for driving pleasure, engineered for precision, and designed to last a lifetime. This is what happens when passion meets craftsmanship, when history meets motion, and when a car becomes more than metal, it becomes emotion on wheels.